In this video, we are going to report the number of calls and the total call duration between friends. Hello, this is Jagan from Growth Data. I am posting this video to share my knowledge in SQL with you. If this assists you in your interview preparation anyways, I will be happy. Welcome to the 19th video of our Advanced SQL 50 interview question series. We have different topics to cover and we are going to take up the last question in the basic aggregation topic. This video will be tagged in Advanced SQL 50 questions playlist and the code we discuss in this video will be uploaded to the GitHub. The link for the GitHub page will be in the video description part. Now let's see the data set and we can talk about the question in detail. So we are given a table called calls. So here we have the from ID, the to ID and the duration. From ID is who do the call, to ID is who received the call, and duration is how much time they are in the call. Right? So if you see here, we got the from is 1 and the to is 2, and they talked for 59 minutes. And the second one is 2 and 1, the reverse of 2 and 1, and they talk for 11 minutes. So in this table there is no primary key, so 1 and 2 can be repeated multiple times, so we don't have to rely on any primary key. And the main thing is the from ID is not equal to the to ID, so you can't call the same person, right? So the from and to is not going to be the same, and we are asked to write a solution to report the number of calls and the total call duration between each pair, the distinct person where the person 1 is less than the person 2, the number wise, right? For example, you see 1 and 2, right? Let's create the table first. So if you see 1 and 2, the same way 2 and 1, right? So both are the same calls. So instead of saying 1 and 2 as 59 and 2 and 1 as 11, what we are going to do is we are going to change this data set such a way that the 1 and 2 and 2 and 1 will be changed to here. This is 1 and this is 2, right? And this is going to be 11, and this is 1 and 3 and 3 and 4, 4 and 3, right? So now if you see, the call between 1 and 2 is going to be 59 plus 11, so 60, 70 equal to 70. Same way this one 1 and 3 is only one call, so it's going to be 20. And for 3 and 4 we got 3 calls, and then here if you see it's 4 and 3, so again we can change that to 3 and 4, right? So you see there are 4 records, right? So it's 100, 300, 500, 1000 minus 1, so it's going to be 999. So 100 plus 200 plus 200 plus 200 plus 499 equal to 999. So the expected output is going to be, so who is the first person and who is the second person. So we say 1 and 2 as the first person, so 1 is the first person, 2 is the second person, and how many calls, right? So we have to say 2 calls. So this is the first call and this is the second call, and how many minutes? It's 59 plus 11, it's 70. Same way for 1 and 3 and 3 and 4. So 3 and 4 is going to be 999, and we got 4 calls. Okay, so this is what the expected output is. Okay, so we created the table and we got the output format. Now how to get this? This is almost similar to the previous 2 questions where you have the records in a row level. We have to convert that to a column level. So 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 are 2 records. We have to convert this to a single row. How to do that? Once you make that to a single row, then you can manipulate the counts and everything, right? Okay, let's start with, we have to bring in 1 and 2 and 2 and 1, right? We have to reverse this. So the person 1, the from should be less than the 2 part, so we have to reverse this. So you have to reverse this. If we say the from ID is less than 2 ID, then which are the records comes out? So this is the first record which got the from ID is less than 2, and this is from ID is less than 2, and all this. So we got 5 records. Let's see how it works. Select from, table name is calls. So here we have to use the from ID and then the to ID, and then we have the duration. So here what I'm going to say is, from the calls table where the from ID is less than to ID. Right? If I run this, I got the 5 records, which one I pointed to. So 1 and 2, 1 and 3, and 3 and 4, the 3 records. So I got the 5 records here. Now what I will do is, I am going to bring in the second record. Let me take the same format. So instead of from ID, I am going to bring in to ID as the first column, and then I bring in the from ID to the next one. Now I am going to say that from ID and to ID is changed, right? To ID is less than from ID, right? So if I run this, I got the next 2 records. So the 2 and 1 becomes 1 and 2. We interchange the from and to, and then 4 and 3 becomes 3 and 4, right? So these 2 are reversed. So this goes here and this goes here. Okay, so we hold on to the from is less than 2, then we hold on to it. If from is greater than 2, we reverse that. So we get into this format. The 2 and 1 becomes 1 and 2, and the 4 and 3 becomes 3 and 4. So now if I say union all, remove this guy. So now I got the record of the second format, right? So this 1, 2, this first 5 is going to be the star part where the from is less than 2. The last 2 is going to be the other part where the from is greater than 2, where we are going to swap the from and to, right? Okay, so now we got this format. Now I can use this as a CTE table with a good for name all raw data as. I get this as a CTE table. Now I am going to say select from ID. So whatever the first select statement, right? So those columns are going to be the column header. Even if you say to ID, when you combine with this, the from ID is going to be the column header, not the second union. Okay, just to let know. So this is from ID as the output is going to be person 1 and person 2, right? So we get person 1 and then the to ID as person 2 and then number of calls. So we have to get the calls 1, 2 for 1 and 2. Sorry, yeah, 1 and 2 is going to be 1 is here, 1 is here, so 2. So we just say count star as header is going to be call count. The next one is the duration, sum of duration as total duration. So from the data set is all raw data. Now you say group by from ID and to ID. This is 1 and 2. If you want to say order by, even that is fine, 1 and 2. So now if you see this, we got the person 1 and then the person 2, person 1 and person 2, and then the call count, and then the total duration. Total duration is 70, 20 and 999. So 70, 20 and 999. So call wise, this is 2, this is 1, and then this is going to be 4. So we got the result as expected. So this is the regular way how we split the data into two data sets, combine together, and then you aggregate, right? So this is a normal way of doing it. There is another way which we are using in the last couple of questions, right? The case statement. So how to handle this union all in a single case statement? Let's see. I'm going to say select from the calls table. I say case when the from id is less than 2id, then you can just hold on to the from id. If not, we just say bring in 2id as person 1. So what we are doing, we just check, we just write it at the top so we can compare. Okay, so here we put this one. Now we see, if we say the from 1 and 2, the from is less than 2, then you take from as the person 1. If else, right, if a from is not less than 2, then bring the 2 to the from place. So we just swap that. So that's what you're doing. If the from is less than 2, then you keep it as such. If not, you swap the 2 id to the first column. This is person 1. Same way you're going to the other way. The 2 column, person 2, we say when the from id is less than the 2 id, then the 2 id is going to be the same. You don't have to change it. If not, you swap the column from id. This is going to be the person 2. So in this way, we don't have to create a 2 data set, right? We can just swap the values. We see which one is smaller. If this is smaller, you keep it like that. If it's not smaller, you swap 1 to the left and 2 to the right. That's what we're doing here. Now both the person 1 and person 2 are clear. Now I can do the aggregation part. Count star as call count to nt, and then we just say sum of the duration as total duration. Since we use aggregation function, we have to use the group by non-aggregation column, which is 1 and 2. If I run this, I get the same result. See, so 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 3 and 4, 4 is going to be duration is 999. Simple, right? So I don't have to go with all the 2 select statements and then the union all and then get the part. For that, easily I can swap the from and to based on whether it's greater than or less than. Okay? So this is the easier way, and this is more preferred. This is more preferred than going with the union part. And there is one more inbuilt function which you can use, which is much easier than the case statement. That is going to be a inbuilt function which is called the least. So now we say from id is less than 2 id, right? Instead of that, I just say the least is the smaller, right? Least of the from id and 2 id. You get that as person 1. The opposite of least is going to be greatest. Greatest of from and 2, get that as person 2. And then you do the aggregation based on that. So you get the same result. So 113, 234, count is 214, and duration is 70, 20, and 999. So this one is kind of a tricky because you have to remember this function least and greatest. So least is basically the minimum part, right? The minimum. The greatest is going to be the maximum. So which is minimum here, from id and to id. If it's from id is the minimum, then there's no issue. You don't have to swap. If not, you swap to id. The greatest is again, which is greatest, you bring to the second column. So it's a easier swap rather than writing a case statement. But I prefer the case statement because this is a generalized version, right? When you go for the interview and you're nervous, then the case statement is the easier one to remember. So if you get used to this least and greatest function, then this is much easier than the case statement. But this one is a very basic, the two select statements, union, and then using the CT table, right? This is very basic. I prefer the second one, but if you practice, this might be the better option to impress the interviewer. If you want to practice this, then you have all the details in the video description. This is going to be in the playlist advanced SQL 50 questions. In this video we are okay, so here in the description part you will have the GitHub link. It will take you to the code base for the corresponding video, and we're talking about the 19th video that will have this link. So where you have the create statement, what is expected, and the three approaches, the union all part, and then using the case statement, and then using the least and the greatest part. You can practice and see which one you like. And if you want to join the WhatsApp channel, then there's a link here. You can use this and join Growth Data WhatsApp channel. Hope you like this video, and thanks for watching.